public hearings.
I've been
And
to
we
many
listen-
of
we
those
listen-
public hearings.
We listen to every.
Not very
piece of
clearly.
it. At the zoning board of appeals,
Thank you.
at
You're
the
not
zoning
listening.
board of appeals, at this board you're talking about. When we issued the special.
I think
use
it was
permit.
very clear from what I heard tonight how seriously our opinions have been taken.
Okay.
Blanche Mackey, I'd like to say that what fills me with the most dismay is that you particularly seem to already have your mind made up. I mean, I already know what your vote is. And to me, that seems a little too black and white if we're still in negotiating this and we're still trying to get across a point. And based on what the attorney said, the language sounded very clear to me. I didn't hear any ambiguity. And so therefore, it's really distressing to think that already one member on the board, we already know what your vote is. That there's no more room for any kind of, sway.
Okay,
So,
let me address that, because you addressed it personally to me.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Mackey.
Thank you.
We've been involved with this project for a long time, and I never,
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just add one thing that I wanted to say before?
About the
About this
appeal,
very thing.
about this process.
About the appeal, about everything.
Yeah.
I haven't been at every meeting, but I've been in a number of them. And from the very first meeting, it seemed clear to me that you didn't want this to happen. So that's what I walked away from the very first
for the
meeting.
first meeting when they first came to the zoning board of appeals.
Not the
and
very
asked
first,
for-
not the very first meeting I attended, which was not that far into the process.
You're confusing me completely, so, anyway, I do not, come to this board with fixed opinions. I listen, I think I've been very open and have changed my mind publicly, and so I don't agree with your statement about me. In this case, when I first heard about the appeal, I, of course, have listened to all the legal arguments, but I start with what really makes sense. And to me, instead of having all this, anyway, what really makes sense was, did the applicant sincerely try to do everything that they were told by the town to do? Get a special use permit, which took 2 years. And there were many, many chances for people to be here when that happened. Not many people were here, by the way. And then they were told to get a site plan, and so common sense is, yes, they've been trying really hard to do this. Hey, I am not a gas station person, I don't have any personal interest in this. I don't. And so I'm telling you, I don't have any personal interest in this. But if you look at, we have to look at the, when you look at Craryville, it's zoned business residential. And everyone has known that there has been that lot there forever. And when they came to us and went through the whole process, it seemed to make sense, then so there was a lot of discussions and a special use permit was issued. Again, we're not here to talk about all those reasons and all of our thinking, but we did spend many, more than a year and a half, maybe 2 years on it. With open minds. But now what we're talking about is, when this group, I guess they've been at your group's been at the planning board for many, many months, now the group went to the building inspector and said, you've made a mistake here, and we have to determine if that's really the case or not. So to me, it's not about SaveCraryville.org, it's not about secret, it's not about what we did when we did, or what the planning board's been doing. Is the determination by the CEO correct? I think that's what we have to do. Or does that align with the intention of the comprehensive plan, which is what we think about when we put that in. Right?
So just so you all know, I've been on this board for over 10 years. And as far as board members go, I feel that this is probably the best group that we've had so far. And the reason being is that I feel confident that we don't have a predetermined judgment on any case that comes up to us. It doesn't matter. Like John said, we have no vested interest in the gas station. We're interpreting all these things that we have to do. Unlike you all, you have a sign. and the side is your side. We're on no side, but so the fact that we're not 100% with you doesn't mean we're against you. We're just a middle ground. So, assuming that we've already have a preconceived notion and we're siding with the gas station, please stop that. Not fair, okay? And you all, like John said, a year. If we were so hot on the idea, it would have taken them 2 meetings to get that permit. Took them over a year. And they spent, they had everyone here, and everything that we asked them to do and provide, they did. And then we made a determination, not according to what our comprehensive plan is, according to these laws to the best of our interpretation. Not to hurt Craryville, not to benefit anything, and that's what we're doing here. And despite the fact that you all feel that we're against you, we're still middle ground, because this is what we do, okay?
Thanks,
So
Michael.
whatever the determination is, I just wanna let you all know that we're doing the best we possibly can by sticking to the facts, because there's 2 sides to this, and our whole, what we are tasked with, is trying to make a logical decision that is fair in both parts, so this town doesn't unnecessarily have to go through a lawsuit under Article 78, which was, I think there's only been 2 meetings with this. The first meeting where the young lady that came in and did her initial address drew that line in the sand and pretty much told us that if we did not agree with her, we were all gonna suffer for it, the town of Copake. Okay, not can we present our case, letting you know that if you don't make us happy and you don't side with us, we're gonna bring you to court and we're gonna sue Copake.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
And one other thing, he is the chairman, this is a board, and the young lady that presents this, you disrespect the board and how we proceed, yet you want us to show some sort of empathy for your cause. Yet she comes in
My name
here-
is Jamie
Yeah,
Carano.
Jamie, thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie,
Yeah.
listen, if you, the next meeting, please surprise me and just show a little respect for how we run the meeting.
I just,
Okay. I
I
know
made
you
physical
want to.
copies of
Guess
documentation
what?
that I
I'm
submitted
coming up-
digitally.
I'm
That's
coming
all
up
I
for-
did.
Listen, my term is coming up in a few weeks, you could apply and you could sit here, and then you could run the board. How's that sound? Okay?
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
And a little bit of passionate, a little bit of emotional there. Yes, and please state your name, and this is about the
I know.
appeal.
My name's Linda Sink, I live in Copake. My question is, shouldn't our town attorney give both sides of the situation? Ken seems to have only given one side. Isn't it up to the town attorney to be more, I don't know what the word is, but to be more, give both sides of what the law interpretation is? You only give one side of it. That's my question.
I don't agree with your characterization. I have tried to find the most relevant cases, the most relevant provisions of the law. I've spent many hours researching to try to see what didn't bear on this. There were things that came up. Obviously, the language on its face is what it is, but there are many other things that are not obvious to people, that take a lot of work. If I find case law that is compelling in any direction, I will tell them.
Okay.
You definitely
I've had
have.
to make some very, very difficult calls. And sometimes you find cases that are very clear, sometimes there are mixed or there are ambiguities, and they're very difficult. And it's not a question of whether I think that they're popular or unpopular. I try to advise the board on where I see the weight of the authority laying in any particular matter. And obviously, I haven't finished with them, we haven't gotten to the point. They certainly are going to take note of the language in that provision that has been talked about, but people are probably not aware of some of the other things that bear on this, which is for their consideration. But believe me, I will find whatever cases, whatever authorities, from whatever sources I can, wherever they lead us. That's how I'm gonna present them. As it turns out, the cases that I came upon here were what I talked about. I had found cases to the opposite, I would have told them that too. So it is a matter of what I find when I research things. I'm not looking for results. I'm looking for the most authoritative things that I can find, and that's what I give them. I'm trying to protect the town from making mistakes and being sued. I'm trying to give them proper advice. I don't have any I have no interest in, I don't live in the town. I honestly don't care one way or the other what happens on any given lot. It's entirely irrelevant to me. I just try to provide them the guidance as I find.
Yes,
Thank you.
Good evening.
Your
I'm
name?
Cornelius Haas. I live on Stone Hill Drive in Hillsdale.
Excuse me, what is your name, please?
Cornelius Haas, H-O-S-S.
Thank you.
We live in a world that has very little water that isn't polluted anymore. And we have communities pretty close to us that can't drink their water anymore. And I guess on this subject, when you all sit and tell us how neutral you're being, that's not what I want. I don't want somebody who's neutral about the possibility that all the wells in the area could be poisoned by somebody's mini-mart.
thank you.